Time to focus on business now. Business editor Mike Apple joins us with more. Mike.
Hey, Crystal, good morning. We are looking at the start of today's trade on the price for oil and the morning markets moving a little bit to the downside. Friday, we saw big rallies on both Bay and Wall Streets. The catalyst was the surprisingly strong numbers on November jobs growth in the United States, which had a lot of analysts thinking that it's going to be a very Merry Christmas indeed for the retail space. Among other things, the consumer is seen as one of the key pillars of any economy, and in the United States even more so than most. And with 266,000 jobs created by the U.S. labor market in November, investors were bidding up stocks big time on both Bay and Wall Streets. Friday, the Dow was up 330 points. So far this morning, we have seen no follow-through what to speak of, with the Dow down about 10. Now, the price for oil did rally as well Friday on not just the strength in the U.S. economy, but after OPEC plus Russia said that they would be curtailing output to some extent. We saw oil last week hitting a 3-month high, almost at $60 a barrel on the U.S. benchmark, but this morning is starting the day to the downside a little bit, losing just over 1% and in and around $58.50 per barrel. Canopy Growth, the biggest player in the cannabis sector, is seeing its stock price surge by as much as 10% right off the bat this morning, as they have finally named a new CEO, permanent leader of the company, to take over from co-founder Bruce Linton, who was ousted in July. And the thinking at that time was this was a move by Constellation Brands, the giant liquor corporation, which bought into Canopy a few years back with a multi-billion-dollar investment. And the talk was that they had grown a little impatient with the fact that Canopy doesn't make any money. So the new CEO is David Klein, and he's the chief financial officer of Constellation Brands. So this will renew the focus on Canopy making some money. And when we're talking about the combination of CBD and beverages, well, there hasn't been much movement on that from Canopy, so maybe they can get a little bit more influence from Constellation. Needless to say, the stock of Canopy is up this morning. Aurora Cannabis out of Edmonton is also up 4% in response. And we're also looking at the never-ending battle for the Bay, the HBC. It's currently got 2 takeover bids on the table that have been looked at for the past several months now, and both of them are getting pushback from various institutional investors. And that whole thing, Crystal, will likely go to the Ontario Securities Commission this Wednesday, because both bids are competing against each other, to the regulators saying that either bid doesn't qualify, and investors are saying, yeah, come to me when you've got a final deal, and then we'll actually buy the stock, as nobody's buying the Bay as of this morning. Back to you.
Well, thanks for joining us, Mike. You can also hear Mike on 660 News at 26 and 56 after the hour. Now we'll take a look at the markets.